Welcome to Baseball This Week, a Spotlight production. And here's your host, Jim Stark.
Good evening. Welcome to Baseball This Week here at the Spotlight Media Studios. I'm here along with my co-host and producer and everything else, Boston Rob Bennett. Rob, how are you?
Jim, great to be back with you to talk some baseball. Let's do it, baby.
It's been a good week this week for baseball. I can tell you.
For the Detroit Tigers fans, yes.
Out on Washington tonight, outside the studios, they're having a car fest, a car rally.
It's the summertime, baby.
Yeah, they had music out there, all these beautiful cars.
Yeah.
But we're going to
talk.
Of
yours, I'm sure? Was one of yours out there?
No. I'm not that much of a car guy.
No?
Cars get me around.
I was just going to say, from point A to point B,
Yeah,
right?
I've never been. Now boats, a little different.
All right.
A little different than boats.
Okay.
But cars, I've never really been a car guy. Unless it's convertible. Now, I could do like a nice convertible. That's always fun to have.
Nothing wrong with that.
All right. Tigers, this time last week, Rob, we were saying, oh, geez, the week they just had was awful. They lost. They were still in the midst of their long losing streak. We said if they could go 5-2 in the next two series between the Twins, Minnesota Twins, and the Royals, we'd be ecstatic. Are you ecstatic? Because they went 5-2.
Well, again, the Tigers fans should be. Why not?
I'm asking you, are you ecstatic?
Yes.
You are.
I mean, it's good to see the Tigers getting back on that winning side of things for sure. But again, it comes down to consistency. Today, the bats came alive, and it seems as though as we get into the first day of summer.
Yeah, the longest day of the year today.
The longest day of the year today, and the bats of the Tigers certainly came alive today. So good to see the offense lead the way.
We'll talk more about today's game, but first we want to go to a guest because this gentleman has been very patient the last couple of weeks in working with us to get on the show and talk about something near and dear to him, and that's the Capital Diamond Classic. But Mike Brya we've been trying to get him on the last 2 weeks, and we screwed up. But this week, I think, Mike, we have you, correct?
Yeah, good to talk with you, Jim and Rob.
And well, thank you for taking time away from your daughter's game. You're over right in the Lansing area watching a softball game, right?
Yeah, my daughter was selected to be in the senior all-star game here in the Lansing area at Ranny Park, so I'm enjoying some sunshine and getting a chance to watch her.
Well, thanks for taking a few minutes out to talk to us before you have to get back to the game and do some cheering and supporting. But we wanted to talk to you a couple weeks ago when the Capital Diamond Classic was still going on. You've been involved with it for a long time, but as a baseball show, we love baseball. How can we not talk about such a great tradition that's been around? I think, was it 52 years this year?
This year was the 61st.
61. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Tremendous tradition. But tell us how you got involved, Mike.
Well, just as a young kid, I was a bat boy for our high school baseball team. I graduated from DeWitt, and so just kind of the whole atmosphere of it, and then got to play in it. And when I was a student athlete at DeWitt, that was obviously high on our priority or goals list, and had the opportunity to coach in that. And then when I got out of coaching, the director at that time, Larry Cockcroft, I told him that I would help out when needed, and he didn't wait very long. So my first year out, I helped out and was kind of his right-hand man for the first couple of years, and then he was at it 20 years, so he decided that it was time for him to step aside, and he asked me to take over, and I brought along my co-director, Jeff Woodworth, who was a former longtime baseball coach at Hazlitt. So, it's obviously with it being around for 61 years, we feel a great deal of responsibility to keep this thing going, and it has a lot of rich history, and the first tournament was 1962, and that was 9 years before the MHSA tournament, which their first one was in 1971.
Well, what's the goal of it? Is it just to have a great exhibition of baseball amongst the local area teams?
Well, I think it's couple, twofold. One, we grant scholarships. Every team can nominate a senior scholar athlete to receive a scholarship, and this year we were proud to award $5,500. But I think the initial goal of the tournament was to showcase the best in the Lansing area. And, it's called the Capital Diamond Classic, so obviously the capital area. And I think it's a really good tune-up when you, for teams, how it sits in the season. It's after the conclusion of the regular season, but just before the MHSA tournament. So it really is a good challenge. And, if you go to any of those games, you just really see a high caliber baseball game between two well-coached teams and some pretty doggone good baseball student athletes.
Mike, you talk about coaching, and you were a coach back in the day for sure, but that brings me to Pat O'Keefe, the Hall of Fame Grand Ledge baseball head coach, and the fact that you named the trophy after him today, or after him for this classic this year. Just talk about the imprint he has put not only on Grand Ledge baseball, but just baseball in general around the area.
Sure. Pat is the utmost competitor, and Pat doesn't take losing very lightly. And he with him at the helm, Grand Ledge has won this thing 26 times.
Yeah.
And so he would probably tell you, or maybe not, but he would probably tell you that he probably had some lesser teams that won that tournament because he gets the most out of his guys. He might take an average team and make them an above average to excellent team. And so we named that award in his honor because he really does get the most out of his kids. He's a competitor. He's hard-nosed. And I think that really kind of exemplifies what that award stands for. And if you were at the championship game or read about it, Cameron Frazier from Olivet just had a gutsy performance. Walk in, I don't know that he's going to catch anybody's eye, but man, he had some good outings in the two games that he pitched.
Well, you know what I like about it the best, Mike? We're talking with Mike Brya, the executive director of the Capital Diamond Classic and the athletic director at DeWitt. I like the fact that it celebrates baseball because these days there's all kinds of all-star basketball games, especially in the offseason. You see them everywhere, camps and this and football. Baseball doesn't really get as much of that, and I think as a result, it's out of the. I don't think people consider it the national pastime anymore. But I love it, and I like the fact that this celebrates baseball and puts it front and center, at least for the duration of the tournament.
Yeah, it does. And like I said, I think it brings in the area's best. If you just look at this year's field of 10 teams, there were 5 district championships, 3 regional championships, and Lansing Catholic was playing in the state semifinals. So, that's just in the Lansing area of those 10 teams. So, not only do they compete well here, but, I think that they compete also statewide when they go to their respective districts, or should they advance even beyond districts.
Now, do you have a list, or does someone compile? Because I'm a sports historian by my nature, and
yep.
Do you compile like the number of players that have gone on to play college baseball, and the number of players that may have gone to play pro baseball?
That's a work in progress. I'm in the process of gathering programs from each of the years, and I can't even tell you how I got my hands on it, but we got the very first 1962 program, and so I'm in the process of doing that. But we've had the likes of Bruce Fields when he was at Everett. He was a 7th round draft pick. Hall of Famer John Smoltz, Paul Quantrill had a long, Paul pitched for Okemos and had a long major league career. His son, in fact, I think pitches for the Cleveland Guardians. Josh Colmenter pitched in the major leagues for about 7 years. And then we had other draft picks, Ryan Miller from Charlotte. And again, my frame of reference is probably, other than the big names that I just mentioned, probably 2000 and beyond. But, Nolan Moody, Travis Gulick, both from East Lansing, Cody Grice from DeWitt, Tony Weber from Grand Ledge, and Wyatt Rush, who had a nice career post high school is draft eligible. So there is a pretty good list of guys that have participated in the tournament.
Well, let me go on record and say I would be happy, Mike, to help do any of that assembling of your sports legacy and your sports history. If I could be of help, I'll be happy to volunteer, because to me, having that basis of what's happened is the key to what's going to happen in any organization, but certainly in one with a history like yours.
Yeah, well, thanks. I would definitely take you up on that.
And then, of course, going back to baseball for a second, we'll let you go. We know you're juggling your softball game there, but do you think that baseball is still I mean, maybe I'm asking the wrong kind of guy, but do you think it's still a national pastime?
I think that it's got its competition. I think, lacrosse is a very active sport. Even for, I'm at a softball game, and I'm looking at how to keep young softball players engaged in the game when, a dominating pitcher, a ball may never leave the infield. So, I think soccer is very, engaging and competitive for young girls and young boys. Same thing with lacrosse. It is a thinking man's game, and so there's a lot of thought process that goes into it, and so there's a couple different pieces, but I certainly think that the game overall might have to be tweaked a little bit, and I think you're seeing that in the college game and Major League Baseball with the pitch clock, just to trying to speed things up and keep spectators engaged and kids wanting to play the game. But it's certainly getting some challenges from other sports, and of course kids now have other I would call them distractions, but other things that they can get involved in, whether it's other sports or specializing in sports. And so baseball certainly does have its challenges.
Well, when you look at the inner city baseball programs, they're so disappointing to see how few kids play baseball in any of the major inner cities. And baseball has a program for that. But I'm glad people like you are still out there banging the drum and putting on tournaments. And again, certainly I'll do what I can do to help, because I think baseball is a thinking man's game. And I always say, I use the quote from George Will, I always say baseball is only boring to the boring, because it is a thinking man's game, and it's and I agree that the changing the pace of the game through the pitch clock has helped. But baseball is still an awfully interesting game on a lot of levels, and I'm all for figuring out ways to make sure that it's promoted and stays in the forefront. And frankly, you're involved with girls softball. Girls softball 20 years ago. Look at what is coming 20 years. So there's another example of a sport that's been built and gotten more people involved. Yeah. Just as baseball did it once upon a time.
Yep. And a quote I always use, that I like is baseball is like church. Many attend and few understand.
Oh, so, I love that one. I'm going to steal that one.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, Mike, we'll let you go. But before you go, now we are going to get involved here at the baseball this week with trying to support your scholarship program. We haven't worked out all the details yet, but we'll announce what we do. But we're going to have some way we can help raise some money for that scholarship program and keep people interested in playing baseball and keep baseball in the forefront of high school athletics.
Great. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very
much.
Mike.
We'll talk to you soon and keep you part of the program. Mike Brya, thank you for joining us from your daughter's softball game. Very nice of him. He's the executive director of the Capital Diamond Classic and the ED over at DeWitt. And obviously, I didn't have time to ask him about his baseball coaching experience. Do you know when he retired? Did he? Mike?
Not offhand, but I know DeWitt High School. DeWitt made it to the semifinals of this year's Diamond Classic.
Well, he's pretty young.
Pretty deep baseball program as well. We talk about Grand Ledge, and rightfully so in this area, but DeWitt is, they got a deep history of baseball, and he was a major part of that.
Well, and again,
over the last several years.
I think he only probably stepped down to become the AD because he's not very old. I know that. But we'll keep him on our list of people we want to talk to about baseball here in the Lansing and Mid-Michigan area. And I love anyone that is excited by baseball.
You and me both, my friend.
Okay, let's take our break. Before we go, share with us, Rob, if you would, our listeners, how they can get involved with us through social media, and again, where they can find the podcasts of the show if they want. If for any reason they want to actually see us, who knows? But let's share it with them.
Always. Of course, you can go to Facebook, like our page, Baseball This Week. On Twitter, also Baseball This Week. That's Baseball This, and then WK. follow us on Twitter and then our YouTube page as well. And you can listen to this podcast, as Jim say. I don't know how much they want to look at my ugly mug. Jim, you're a fashionista, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you can also listen to us if you choose to on all your podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker, you name it, we're there. Take a listen if you love baseball like us.
Well, as people said about me a long time when I was on the radio, I had a face made for radio.
I got to tell you real quick before we take a break. So my mom back in the day when I first got into radio with the great Earl Robinson here.
Yes.
Back in 2002, right? So I told, once I latched on and I was lucky enough to start working with Earl, I called my mom up and I said, hey, I'm in sports radio. And the first thing she said to me.
It was your mother. Your
my mother.
Best friend, the one who supported you your whole life.
I was in the womb, Jim.
Yeah.
I was in the womb.
I got it. I got it.
But she said to me, well, you always had a face for radio.
Thanks, Mom.
God bless her.
Thanks, Mom.
Love you, Mom.
And she's your biggest supporter, right?
She's biggest supporter. I'll never forget those words, and look where I am now.
You know what, Rob?
Now
I'm understanding why you want to work for Jack Ebling. Now it's making it clear now that you're used to this kind of abuse as you grew up. So let's take a break. We'll come back. We got more of this week's Baseball This Week here on the Spotlight Media Studios.
To everyone who enjoys a sweet treat, Culver's team member Brooke is crafting one for you, Wisconsin style.
When I serve you a creamy fresh frozen custard treat, it's that handcrafted kind of goodness, like our Simply Sweet cones or dishes, craveably thick shakes, and handcrafted concrete mixers. You know those it's so good, want a bite kind of treats?
Come to Culver's for a Wisconsin favorite made just for you. From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
Boyne Golf presents Michigan's Magnificent 10. 10 extraordinary courses set among 3 incredible resorts with plenty of wide open spaces where the extra long days let you play and play and play. And when you're done, a variety of amenities and charming towns await. The golf's so varied, the accommodations so welcoming, each visit's a new experience. So visit BoyneGolf.com to plan your time here. That's BoyneGolf.com.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Time for a career change? Looking to make a difference? Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our dedicated team of school bus professionals. Dean Transportation has immediate openings and offers paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license. With increased starting pay, benefit packages, flexible scheduling with weekday hours, and more, Dean Transportation may be the career choice for you. No experience needed. Apply now and train all summer. Head to deanjobs.com.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal made just for you, let our team member Jacob share what's special about Culver's.
In Wisconsin, our food comes from the heart, and taking the time to handcraft your meal with care is how we've always done it at Culver's. It's why your Butterburger